Tuesday. This is Trekland HQ, and we are live. 5 days in October's. Yeah, my life in Star Trek. Today on Trekland Tuesdays Live. Oops. Boom. Trekland Tuesdays Live number 419 with me, Dr. Trek Larry Nemecek, coming at you here from the heart of Trekland, yes, and all things Portal 47, and yes, okay, all things Trekland Treks. You can get a treklandtreks.com info, all the get out at that site or my site, larrynemecek.com. Your own customized away mission from real life Star Trek location sites across all the generations. Love to put that together with you. Shout out just this last weekend to Rover and his Morning Glories and producer wife Brittany for his 50th birthday. They took a Trekland Treks and we had a lot of fun on Saturday. He's an iHeart Radio DJ morning show out of Cleveland, but they're nationwide everywhere. Give them a listen. A lot of fun and a big Trekker. He talks about it on the show, and they thought what better way to celebrate his 50th than to come out to LA and take a couple of tours, including mine. So that was a real hoot. Appreciate that. Something anybody can do if you're in the market and you're in the neighborhood. But yes, here we are for another Tuesday. Kind of a slow Trek Tuesday. And I tell you what, while you're piling in here, I'll talk about it. The regulars know what's going to happen, but for those of you new, please just know I'm going to talk a little bit about a topic, and then we'll take a micro break, and then I will dive into the chat, because the chat has all of our great TTLers there. If you're new, if you're feeling a little ambitious and you've been a lurker, either way, why don't you sound off in the chat, introduce yourself, let us know where you're coming from, what the weather's like, what the trek is like. That's become a byline now, I guess. Anyway, best of all, I hope you're coming to us on YouTube. I still keep the other channels open, but we are monetized on YouTube. We get the best metrics from YouTube. And best of all, in YouTube, you see the comments from everybody, just in case folks are coming in from Facebook. And if they are, they're only seeing the comments from Facebook, which increasingly is fewer and fewer and fewer, which is another good reason to come over to YouTube. And the Twitch folks, yeah, you're here. You're seeing all the comments, but that's about it. So yes, and I say monetize. I have my lovely Patreon folk, very simple Patreon, but the Tuesdays is a chance live. We have Super Chat. You can click and throw a little bit of silver in to help us out with the streaming costs here. I keep it kind of small and simple on the streaming end because that's just what I do. And I choose this time of day for all you newbies because we have the best global reach here. So we have a lot of friends. We have a lot of TTLers, and some of them are Patreons, and some of them are my Portales from Portal 47. A lot of folks are in here from around the world, Europeans especially, but we've got Aussies and folks from East Asia. Occasionally, we have some South Americans. And I've even had somebody from India once and somebody from Chad, I say, in Africa. Anyway, we have a good time. And yeah, it has been. So, I mean, like and subscribe and do all the things, right? Hit the alert button so you know when we're on. Today was a little slow getting started, but it's all good. We're all here. And it is a slow time now. Are you enjoying the con audio drama? Please don't say podcast. This is like old-time radio good with the acting and the sound effects and the music and theater of the mind. That's the thing. I'm going to talk about con at a certain point, I think when the series is done. But I'll say midstream, if you're not listening, please do. It's not like you've got a lot of other Trek to watch out for, although there was a new episode of Scouts dropped. Yeah. So it's a little bit slow moving in Trek world, although folks are waiting for New York Comic Con to pop up. They've got 2 Star Trek panels scheduled, right? One for Academy and one for Strange New. Maybe we'll get a debut day. There's been a leak. Oopsie. apparently, maybe, I mean, this is what passes for news. People are getting their panties in a wad over whether that leak about January from one of the actors, totally innocent. And 2 months from now, 6 months from now, no one will give a rat's ass. But for now, maybe it's January. We'll see. Mid-January, late January, who knows? But that's what's passing for news and excitement these days. Maybe there'll be more out of New York Comic Con this weekend. So here's what's funny. I was wondering, didn't have a guest this week, wondering what was going on in the greater Star Trek universe, in the greater Trek sphere. And I looked at my own calendar. And, you know, we have anniversaries now marked up here. There's so much. I mean, 15 years ago, I used to post. I used to, Twitter and Facebook about Star Trek anniversaries because nobody else was doing it because no one was, the world was new. And now everybody and their dog, that's the easiest thing in the world is people database Star Trek anniversaries now. And so that's kind of like pointless. 1 million people are doing it. Why keep doing it yourself? So if I do post about a landmark day, I bring something personal to it, either something about me or an angle that I have on the bigger event. And so I hope you're enjoying our Instagram channel. They come and go. We get in a spurt and then I back off. And then, Scott helps me with that part too. And so thanks, Scott, for that and the reminders and the pokes. But I looked at the calendar for October and I thought, okay, here's some that I should be doing and done in the past. And then I thought, wow, these particular personal anniversary dates for me, and sometimes they blend into the larger Star Trek, right? Sometimes it's my niche of a big event. Sometimes it's something that happened to me in my career or in my fandom. And then I kind of did a meta and thought, wow, this is saying a lot. This is what I mean, okay? So I say I'm looking at these in October, and it's a meta. It's a moment of history in my corner on it. For instance, I missed the day, but then again, I never celebrate the day. The whole world makes a big deal about Next Generation debuting on September 27th. Well, Next Generation Day, that was the first day anybody in the world could see it, but that was not its debut day for the entire world because Next Gen, like DS9, was syndicated and every city had its own air date, which decided by that market, that station that owned it, that rented it, that carried it in this amazing business changing paradigm model that Paramount came up with to bring Next Generation, to bring Star Trek back, and not at the whim and always being on the bubble of some stupid, huge, big network. They could take it to it was direct casting, right? And we talk about this all the time. We talk about it on the Trek Files, on Portal 47. But what that means is city by city, Next Generation has a different debut date to you or to that city, depending on where you lived. And of course, in good old Oklahoma City, it was on Sunday nights after the local news at 10:30, because that's where they had moved the original Star Trek to, and Channel 4 remembered that and wanted to put it there. Why dump it at 10:30 on Sunday night? Well, they said, what else is going to get this good of ratings at 10:30 on Sunday? Which has its own silly station manager, ad director, sales director, programming logic. Anyway, that's a long story. I've talked about what happened after Best of Both Worlds with that strategy. But that is why my premiere party, that's why my memory of all this, and this is our flyer, gang, see? This is why it is down for October 4th. That was Sunday, October 4th. And here, it's a flyer. It's like a band flyer. This is what you did, right? We didn't have screens. We just had copiers if you were lucky. And, okay, fine. Hand lettered, the whole bit. It's 1987. Oops, did I say that? Guys. It's that, okay, how about a map to your house? Because I was always big on maps and things. So there you go. And we had about 10, 15 people at my duplex, and a good time was had by all. And Claire Stevens McMurray, who just recently passed, but was a bulwark of Star Trek and sci-fi fandom and actual space fandom, a mainstay of the Oklahoma Space Alliance, citizen space group. I can remember what she said at the end of the final cut came off of Farpoint, final scene fades out, go to commercial, and Claire said, "Gosh, a super alien? This wasn't a Gene Roddenberry show, was it?" And of course, that's exactly what was going on. But we were all excited and we stuck with it, and it was creaky at the time, but it was the only Trek there was. And how could you not follow it and hope that it just got better? And you weren't online talking about it you were talking in your friend circle and maybe the people you knew elsewhere through the week, right? And then maybe you wrote a letter to Starlog or maybe Interstat if you were in the know about your feeling. Otherwise, you kept it to your circle of fan friends. Anyway, we had a lot of fun with that. But again, I looked up to see my personal take on a Trek event, and at the same time, it's a chance to remember that September 27th was not the universal premiere date. And a lot of folks around the country had to wait a few days, and some folks in lucky remarks, we were the absolute last friggin' people in America. 10:30 Sunday night, when LA, who was a Monday market, would have it, and others were too. But we were the last night before LA would have it on Monday. I remember going to Steve Walker's Denver Starland Cons. And one of the cool things was, because it was syndicated, if you knew somebody who worked at a TV station, you could find out when the satellite downlink to the station was, where they would copy it. They would copy the episodes and then show them. They had tapes as backup, but the most efficient way, by the high-tech 80s, was to uplink and downlink, and your local station would just capture it. And Starland would always have on Saturday night, would show the Monday episode early. So we got to watch it early. But in Oklahoma City, at SuperCon and then at my ThunderCon, we would capture that. Thank you, Channel 4. And we would show it Saturday night. So Sooner and ThunderCon attendees got it a whole night early. You got to see it a day early. Woohoo, what a boost it used to be. But that was fandom. Anyway, I'm looking at my October calendar and I see that. And then I see another anniversary, the October 9th. Now that I'm backtracking, right? I went back to the 4th, but this is in the future. So coming up, October 9th is no, we're not to 10th yet. We're still at the 7th anniversary of the second edition, the 2018 edition of Stellar Cartography. Gang, I have to be honest, this is not a royalty residuals product. It's Amazon. It's subsidiary Amazon. Well, but I got paid up front. So every time I say, here it is, go buy one, if you still can, I'm not getting anything from it. There you go. I'm not getting anything from it except pride of what we were able to do and update everything for the time. So you had like the 10 maps out here. You had this huge, wonderful case, and the book inside. I've been so privileged and honored to sign a lot of these for folks. But we finally made even more sense. We took Jeff's last edition in 2002 through the first couple of years of Enterprise. Up in 2013, updated Enterprise, the sliver of Prime at the JJ movie, the whole thing about the Romulan supernova, which was going to get reworked, but now has been the basis of so much of the more modern lore, including people's beloved Picard. So much to update. We had this through the first season of Discovery. It needs an updating, although I'm thrilled to say that Tim Peel on the graphic staff is enough of a fan and a devotee. And thank you to John and Marion and everybody in 2017 for sending the Discovery folks, writers and graphics, all of our cartography, because this stood on the backs of Mike Akuta's shoulders, and then Jeff did the lion's share work with me helping, based off of my original impetus to jump into Star Trek. Well, backgrounding. And then the second or third iteration of that was making sense of the stars by the charts we had at the time. So we went from the layout, the tech manual, to the layout in the short-lived, rarely seen Star Trek maps in the cardboard pouch. And then finally, Mike came up with a big picture system of the quadrants that he came up with for the Price season 3 TNG, and then started to fill this out. Well, if here's the quadrants and here we are, then here are the Klingons, Romulans, and here's the Cardassians, and the Borg are way over here in the Delta. And from those bare bones, and if you haven't heard me talk about this at a panel sometime, or a Roddenberry 3D avatar presentation, I think that's still on YouTube. It's a lot of fun. And there is a logic and a sense and a huge overlap with real astronomy and science. Dr. Aaron and I brought my old format out and that I do with space scientists, and I did it with Dr. Aaron on the cruise last year. It's a lot of fun to compare the real science, the Venn diagram of real science and Star Trek overlapping. But the thing that was an honor for me was the 2013 edition, and then the update here. And it needs another update, although, as I say, Tim's done a lot of the work for the higher end stars. There's lots of mentions and things that still need fleshing out. But this was the coolest thing in 2013, the original edition. We hadn't had anything this cool for nonfiction folks. I mean, when I was a kid and we had the tech manual and we had the blueprints and we had the medical reference, and then we had different editions of star charts. We hadn't had anything cool like this since the 0203 book by Jeff about star charts. And we had the down years. We had the fallow years for Star Trek. And nobody thought there was any money in anything Star Trek, especially aside from the novels and comic books. So it was a real thrill to be a part of this and to get Star Trek updated and do things in these books. I did it in 2013, but basically choreograph the Dominion War and make it make sense. In the old school way that we did First Generation. Well, now it was time again. You took what was there, which it turns out was not much. Because, anyway, so many reasons. I've talked about it before. But it was just a real thrill. But the stellar cartography and things like David Goodman's 150 Years of the Federation book, there was a time there when they were trying to do flashy merch in the fallow years, when there was not Trek being cranked out every week. There was not this madcap pace to keep up with. And you could kind of take a breather and take stock. And, what do they call that? The 50,000 foot view, not the meta view, but just the big picture. Take a breath, pull it together, and do that. And that's why something that I had done out of the gate as a kid and found Jeff Mandel long distance, because I wrote to him about the medical reference stars as homeworlds and how the Klingons being closer than the Andorians made no sense. So that was not a panel that Doug reproduced as part of Keiko's schoolroom in DS9. So that was not canon. Still don't know about being 4 days away from Earth. Kronos being 4 days away from Earth at warp 5, Max. That still rankles me, but that boat sailed. That ship has sailed, as we say. But that anniversary, that's the 8th anniversary on October 9th. The very next day is really personal, because the very next day is the anniversary. October 10th, 2015 is the 10th anniversary of my first guest night in Portal 47. Yeah, can you believe that? Can you believe that? That's why it's the 10th anniversary this year of Portal. Just to let you know right now, the open house, which is free to everybody if you just register with an email, the open house 10th anniversary is going to be Wednesday the 22nd. That's still being finagled, but right now that's only in a couple of weeks. If you're on my list, you'll get notice of it. We're about to name the guest. It's going to go one of two ways. We're just seeing who's got schedule availability then or soon after. So, yes, we have a great logo coming. Scott's on it. I promise you we'll have it. Oh, no, I've got it. I've got the 10th anniversary logo. It's the open house that I don't have. Well, I will share it with you later in the edit and all over the place starting now online. Because Portal 47 was pretty radical and hard to explain to people, both in what we were trying to do and how we were doing it. It took 5 years before the whole world found out what Zoom was. But hey, we were on freeconferencecall.com video at the beginning. Actually, we were still on the audio only at the beginning. But yeah, Portal 47 is 10 years old. And 10 years ago, the 10th, this Friday, although it was originally a Wednesday, was our first guest night. It was Mike DeMerit, who a lot of you know now from the Trek Files appearances. Yeah, I just went back to the folks I knew who never got talked to. That's the whole point of Portal, right? All the backstage folks that needed a voice and needed to be recorded and archived and had so much to share. As we say, Portal 47 is for all the Star Trek fans who have no idea how much Star Trek they still have no idea about. That's been my goal. Of course, with the open houses, we have a top-line guest who you probably have heard from, but you probably don't hear it in the Trekland way, in the Dr. Trek way. So whoever we work with, we'll take a long view. It won't be sound bites and latest little clickbaity headlines. It'll be a long view. And, of course, people have the opportunity to ask questions from the chat or send questions in ahead of time. But also open house is about a sample of the Ask Dr. Trek Roundtable, basically an open mic. And we'll have door prizes and all of that. It'll be available on Zoom with an address that you get when you register. Also, when you register with your email, you'll get into the drawings for cool. I mean, I've got DVDs and books over here stacked up to give away that night. We usually have 4 or 5 door prizes because it's a virtual open house. I'm going old school here, updated. Hey, this was pretty radical in 2016 when we did the first anniversary. So yeah, it's the 10th anniversary open house for Portal 47. Stay tuned. We'll be announcing, folks, who our guest will be, but that will be tentatively Wednesday, the 22nd. But keep your eyes and ears open. 10 years. 10 years. 10 years for that. What's wild is then, it's this year on October 13th. Here's day number 4, right in this half of October string. It's wild how this was within a couple of years, and thanks to Portal 47, I started Trekland Treks, the day tours. Big shout out and thank you, of course, to Terrace Cassidy, who introduced the idea of doing tours at all in a Star Trek vein, going to location sites. And while I'm at it, oh, come on. I just have a mental block here. We're bringing back the big Hollywood to Vegas tour next year for the 60th. Haven't done it in 10 years. How did that happen? Well, COVID was a lot of it. Shifting attitudes about travel, shifting attitudes about a lot of things got in the way. But we're coming back for the 60th. It'll be 5 days before the Trek, actually 6 days before the Trek Vegas convention. Starts in LA. Winds up there. Excuse me. We're doing it live. Yeah, Geek Nation Tours is the name of Terrace's company. You can look at geeknationtours.com and find your way there. We're going to be hitting it hard. You're going to be hearing a lot about the tour coming up. And even more so than we did 10 years ago at times, we will have some of your favorite actors, some familiar faces talking about the places that they worked and the locations they filmed at. To me, the locations are cool enough as it is, but we'll have some celebrity focus there at the same time. But that's the big multi-day tour coming next year. October 13th, 2017. Was it Colin from Ireland? Irish couple was my first Trekland Trek. They planned it with me, as anyone does, got in touch. I'd been advertising it, but I hadn't done it. It was time to flesh it out. So took all the information I had about venues. We worked it out. I had if you go to the treklandtreks.com site, you'll see us in a couple of places. One at the Griffith Observatory, the LA Observatory at Griffith Park, of course, from Future Tense from Voyager. There's another shot, I think we're on the lot at Paramount in front of that underground subway bit. It was a huge day, and it was a proof of concept, and it proved that we could do it. It's not that hard. So yeah, if you wanted your own custom away mission, I say it every week, it's a Trekland Treks. Well, so what was that? 8 years ago. 8 years ago, October 13th, was my first Trekland Treksters. And then so it's like, these are the moments that are highlights for me, but they're also kind of signposts, guideposts. I've got one more, and then I'll take a meta look at all this. So I want to share this. Yeah, I did share this already. I know. Why can I not get it over? Do I have to do... Hang on, gang. Just remember, I'm going to get back to the chat. Here we go. This was... Oh, I have the wrong... Oops, I've got the wrong letter here, gang. Sorry about that. Well, it's a cool letter. I'll share it later. We'll edit it in. I had the right person, wrong letter. No, here's what's amazing. It was 30 years ago, last year. So coming up on the 31st anniversary. Okay. In October 14th of 1993. Okay, 32 years. Jerry Taylor wrote me a congratulations letter for the original edition of the TNG Companion, the Blue Boy, which was a big honking thing. You know what? I might have it right here. Used to have it right here. Which was amazing in a day when people wrote letters, especially as people as classy as Jerry. And of course, she had to write it on her Next Gen stationery. And there we go. Isn't that awesome? So yeah. 92, 33 years, third of a century ago. It was the blue first edition. They had the tech manual. They'd had that in-house. So it was cool to see Mike and Rick finally get the professional edition out that we're all familiar with now, the copper-covered tech manual. But otherwise, that was the first official book about writing anything from the modern era of Trek then, putting it together. And of course, everybody working on the show at that time, no one was around when the first 2 seasons were made of Next Gen, which was a hellacious thing to try to do, to write. One person who would talk to me who was not so burned by it. I'm looking at you, David, and the late, great Dorothy. But Bob Justman, as I say many times, saved my ass on the first edition of the Blue and made it 9/10 of what it was. That and just my files that I'd kept as a fan. But it's not the release day, but there's Jerry Taylor. Congratulations. Because I did finally get to talk to Jerry and all the writers by phone back in Oklahoma in my Norman Transcript newsroom, impressing the hell out of our switchboard operator and my city editor, fellow fan Karen Doral. So yeah, it was just a fun little landmark for me, but in the bigger picture of things, it was kind of a symbol of the world evolving. Star Trek Next Generation had been back. It was no longer trying to catch lightning in a bottle. Best of Both Worlds onward, they caught the lightning. The lightning was blowing up the ratings numbers every year and creating a phenomenon. And by that time, well, we were a couple of years away, But the writing was on the wall that eventually there'd be some kind of a sequel show, a spinoff. And the feeling was starting to grow that maybe 5-6 years in. No, I'm sorry, 93. Of course we were there, 5 seasons in. Of course, DS9 was about to premiere. The world was bright for modern Star Trek. No more doubters. And it was kind of like that book coming out was not only huge for me, it got us to California and LA and all this craziness that was to come, the ups and the downs. But it also was kind of a pivot point again for where Star Trek was. That book sold so many million. It woke a lot of people up, just the same way the tech manual for the original series woke a lot of people up about, hey, there's money in this, which means there's numbers, which means that's a ripple effect. Well, Mike and Rick's tech manual was its own original crazy story about Pocket not thinking anyone, who's going to buy this? And they kept printing such little print runs, they would immediately sell out and they would just have to print more and more. And finally they gave up and said, okay, fine. We won't print 5,000 at a time. We'll print 10. Okay, we'll print 20. Well, that was priming the pump for the companion. And I was so tickled when to get that letter from Jerry. And at the time, we didn't think about these things. You wrote letters, you wrote notes, or you didn't. And in an era now when everybody just writes email, to have something on paper, which you guys that follow the Trek Files know that that's awesome to have anything on paper that you can go back to. It's like finding the layers of history in a archaeology dig. They're preserved and they're right there. So it's funny. Again, this whole week's, my little soapbox here this week is all about looking at my calendar and realizing, and these posts are still coming, but apart from just the day-to-day mention of something that was kind of cool and sometimes personal for me within my Star Trek and maybe even within the greater Star Trek world, because I'm not soapboxing here. Lots of people have personal dates that are part of the big Star Trek world, okay? I mean, it's a tapestry of thousands of people. But in my little corner of the world, for what it was, makes me smile when I think about our TNG premiere party. But it's a reminder again that there were different debut nights all over the place for TNG and DS9. It wasn't until Voyager that we got back to having a network premiere. And even then, don't forget, even then, UPN was so dinky that some places still didn't have enough. Some markets were so small, they still couldn't afford to pay license fee to be a UPN affiliate full time, as UPN tried to fill out more nights of programming besides the night they had Star Trek Voyager. So they did have a syndication package. Some cities' markets did have it apart from Monday night? And then later on, Wednesday or Thursday. Some city markets did see Voyager at a market time, a night, other than the standard network run, which just complicated things. It also made the Nielsen rating later because no one was looking at the syndicated market for a piece of the country, the way they did for TNG and DS9, the whole country, and then tried to, factor algorithm that back. Nope, the Nielsens were the Nielsens. And if you were only in 3/4 of the country on a network affiliate, then too bad for you. You were always going to have crippled ratings. Yeah. So that's so funny. My TNG premiere date, Stellar Cartography, what it meant for nonfiction cool products. Even the second edition, right? The purple nebula. Try not to get the green. It's not horrible, but if you want the updated edition. And Amazon, the sellers are not crooks, but they are bad about not knowing, not caring, and the IMBD numbers are the same a lot of times. You think you're ordering the 2018 and you get the 2013. And even when you complain, they're like, what are you talking about? It's hard. That's why I try to get people to buy it when you see it, because the mail can be a hassle. I know. And Portal 47 will always be near and dear to me, to prove that finally there was even a small business model that could work and outside of the needs of licensing because you could do this on a scale, and it's all the nonfiction, it's all fair use. You're talking about people and their memories, and you're doing that, and also getting folks recorded who deserve to be recorded, and fans hearing those stories firsthand and getting to ask firsthand. And that's just the guest site. Of course, Portal is more than just the guest nights, but that was the first guest night, October 10th. Trekland Treks, another way to enjoy your fandom that was kind of revolutionary, and still is. There's still nothing like Trekland Treks. I'm not talking about the tours. The Star Trek tours are at the stages, and that's James Cawley's licensed thing. It's wonderful. Go, go, go. It's amazing. But the same feeling you have standing on those sets is the same feeling you have. Yeah, Vasquez Rocks, and yeah, you can go there, but we'll hopefully give you a great supportive and information-filled time while we fought the LA traffic ins and outs, plus Tillman, plus all the famous and infamous places. It's a different kind of critter. I don't know. I told you I was going to go personal this time, and then Jerry's letter about the companion was part of the shakeup of, and the staff being aware that now these resources are there, and the staff being aware that they had a spotlight shown on them for the first time. I had, in the early days there, had like post producers say, why do you want to talk to me? Like, I'm not an actor. What do you want to know what I do? Because that's part of the puzzle. And if we don't talk about this, your story goes away. Part of the show, the reasons, the whys and why nots, that's lost to history. And plus, people just need to know. It's a puzzle how TV is made in the first place. And people deserve that. I'm still that way now about modern animation. I have no clue how the big picture, you can see the titles, but there's a million people in those credits. And I do my best to get the Hagemans and Aaron, Mike McMahon, some of the folks that work on the staff. The writers just write their scripts and kind of vaguely know what the format is. We're going to do a better job of that. We're going to get into whether we have more animation coming soon or not. We will eventually get into the nuts and bolts of animation. With Portal and also with the Trek Files. Gang, I hope we don't have low-key, low news weeks for much longer. I'm just saying, yes, I went a little personal this week, hoping I could magnify it out to wider Star Trek. Maybe give somebody something to think about. Right now, when there's not a whole lot else to think about, aside from, just surviving day to day. Keeping yourself sane and healthy, always a good thing. So that's going to do it for the soapbox this week. I'm going to hit the chat here in just a second, but I do want to remind everybody, sound off in the chat. We are going to back scroll and re-scroll. And just to remind everybody, I say we're going to take a break here. If you are watching us on YouTube, I'm going to be leaving you soon. Hopefully, some week you can watch us live on a Tuesday at 1-ish Pacific, 4-ish Eastern, and then that means 9-ish UK time and 10-ish Central Europe. So hello, rest of world. It'd be great to have you on live. If you can't be, though, please go ahead and keep sounding off here. If anything I said today rings a bell, stirs up a memory, makes you want to ask a question, I'll try to get back and answer questions even in the YouTube comments, the same as we're about to do with the live chat. All right. Meanwhile, just a reminder, big thanks, big shout out to all of my Patreons. Oops, there. I mean Chuck A. and James Kerwin, Diana Hopkins, Halbjörn Gunnjonsson, Lawrence Todd, Chris Jiggins, Bitch Keith Rombach, Josh Patton, Pranakasha Productions, and Comedy Forecast. And then our live wires, that's the little tier up from the TTLers. J.R. Poole, thank you much. Gary Williams, same. Rob McLean, Byron Bailey, Donna S. Runyon, Brandon Coles, Dave Gregory, Jesse at Crusher Convo, Chris Garris, and Casey Shafsky. Thanks to everybody. If you are curious and want to know what's up with my Patreon, as I said, it's pretty simple. It's $5, $10 a month. for the shout out. And I've got to get back and get the guest interview links from early Portal 47 guest interviews. It's patreon.com/Trekland Live. I appreciate the heck out of all the help doing that, right? And of course, this week it's the Trek Files. We're back in the middle season. We're back this week. If you haven't heard, dropped on Tuesdays. Tuesday Twofers starts with the Trek Files. And this week, Adam Kotsko is back. We are looking at what a landmark and what a treasure the original animated series was. I know. The name of Adam's book is Late Trek. He's mainly talking about the later series and trying to look at their popularity and the fan reactions and compare and contrast them with the earlier shows. But he wanted to talk about the original animated series. And so we did. And we've got some great points. I hope you enjoy it. We've got more coming. Obviously, we're just 4 or 5 episodes out of the gate for our 14th season. So check it out. Yeah, podcast.roddenberry.com. You can see all the Roddenberry shows. We are still on Facebook. You can catch the hashtag on Twitter and Blue Sky. But our main home is now thetrekfiles.com. You can get everything. It's a page. It's our page on Memory Alpha. We've got a direct address to it. You can go to Memory Alpha and find the Trek Files. But basically, it's all 13 plus seasons with the documents, with the audio player, and with all the hot links because it's Memory Alpha. Awesome place to go. You can watch at the podcasting hosting place of your choice, of course. You just won't have the document there with you. And we go into that, right? Once again, treklandtreks.com. I've talked about it. There you go. You can join folks. Now, actively doing that for 8 years. It's a day trip as opposed to the big Hollywood to Vegas tour we do occasionally. Now, not since 2016. Kind of amazing. You can check out all of that at my site or just look up geeknationtours.com and look for the Star Trek tour next year before Vegas. That's going to do it, YouTubers. Hey, it's Larry Nemechek. Please check us out on Blue Sky and or Twitter. It's Larry's Trekland, variously on Facebook, on Instagram. We have a lot of fun stuff on Instagram. And most of all here on YouTube. Is it there or is it there? Probably there. And portal47.net, of course, check that out if you're interested in going where no savvy fan has gone before. Okay, that is it for now, YouTubers. Hope you can make it with us some Tuesday coming up. Otherwise, if not, just join us here online next week. Catch the rest of the channel and stay healthy. Do all the things. Stay awoke. Check the sources. Don't fall for crap. Keep your eyes open. I guess what I'm saying here is trek well, everybody. All right, live folk. I am back scrolling. Hey, Sherry Mabaloni. Yeah. Plushy McCoy says hi. Hey, Timothy. Sydney, hope you're doing well. Good to hear from you. Hey, Frank. Good to see you. Joel, you too. There you go, David. Dr. Dave sounds off about the Khan audio drama. For a minute, I thought that said clan audio drama over here. And I was like, what? Oh, okay. Right. How do you do, Christoph? Hey, Joel. I don't know. I would ask somebody associated with the show, but it's a big secret right now. I can't ask the corporate Nick Jr. account, right? They're missing the boat so much. I mean, I know it's aimed at 3 and 4 year olds, but there are a lot of adults who might get more 3 and 4 year olds to watching if they would tell us who those adults are that the other adults could talk to. think they're missing the boat. I think they're missing the boat because Star Trek, once again, is not like anything else. It's not like any other 3-year-old AIM targeted show. They're missing all of this times 1,000 infrastructure. Oh, well. Oh, well. Hey, Red Shirt Bob, you're still alive. You're still with us. That's good. Hey, Frank, just started on your commute this morning. Itching to get back to it. Talking about Con, I guess. Good deal. I listened to the first one. I'm going to catch up a clump. I'll talk about it. I'll do a second opinion, I think, at the end. But yeah, I think people is raving too harsh a word, too big a word. We will see. We will see. Hey, Rashid from London. Well, that's the room. That's the apparently oopsie misconfirmation, which is hysterical. The people that don't know this world, forget when the secret is supposed to be released. It's funny. That was for this weekend. Hey, Trek reviewer, good to see you. Carl, good to see you, man. Christian, everybody's here. Brandon, howdy doody, sir. Yes, sir. Iris, I know you have been with us before, but it's good to have you back, even if you're coming in from Facebook. You're going to miss out. Yeah, Carl, that wasn't exactly an old drinking game thing from Life Support Live. That just kind of slipped out. Sorry about that. Yeah, just imagine a lower deck sensor bleep there. Bring your own booze to the trial of humanity. Uh-oh, here comes Sean. It's a Happy Harriman. Oh, I was expecting a trivia in there, Sean. Oh, the flyer. Well, come on. It was a 20-somethings party. Of course you brought it was BYOB. It was in America, Christoph, that's bring your own booze. So it could be beer or anything. Yeah, BYOB was bring your own booze in the particular parlance. And especially if it was really destitute college kids, we would have BYOE, bring your own everything. Okay. Oh boy. See, everybody's got their memories of this. If you were watching Trek then. In your area, the syndicated TNG changed day and time regularly, while TOS was 11:30 Sunday nights for decades. Gosh, Red Bob. Bob, remind us where this was, would you? See, here come the stories. I remember Fox 68 in Syracuse, New York had Star Trek Next Gen on at 6 p.m. on Sundays. Okay, so Trek reviewer, you were the next to last people in the country to see it, and you were Eastern time. Changeling Test. The episode Ensign Rowe premiered 34 years ago today, but Michelle Forbes previously featured in what TNG episode? Good question. And of course, Carl is right there, half alive, with that wacky hair. Michelle Forbes, not Carl. What are you saying, Christoph? You just looked up the GSA, and by that, folks, he means Germany, Switzerland, Austria, the Germanic-speaking countries. He doesn't mean the General Services Administration, which now is a laughing stock because of Trump. Okay. What are you saying here? TOS was May 72 in the Germanics. TNG 7th, September 1990, one day before TOS's 21st anniversary. Actual Star Trek Day, not German-speaking Star Trek Day. You only had to wait one day for the best of both worlds cliffhanger. Well, la-dee-da. And still you gained fans. That's amazing. Yes. Thank you, Christoph, for following up your own filling there. Hey, C3. You actually listened to the TAS episode today. The passion of your co host was infectious. I've got a project in mind to bring you back on your show. I'll drop you. And I owe you a favor, C3. I've not forgotten it. I will still work on that, okay? But this sounds interesting too. Yay. You didn't mention the title of your show. You should do that. That's what chat comments are for. Come on. Everybody else does it. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Adam wanted to talk about the animes. After writing a book about mainly the newer shows, he really wanted to go back to the animated. You are not alone, Red Shirt. You are not alone. Oh, you guys are all over it here. Hey, my figure, thank you. Always a fun time at the open house. Well, I like it because it's fresh face. Hopefully, if we did our job here, it's fresh faces. And I mean, I may pick up one or two new Portales out of it all, but I like this, just the simple surprise of the door prizes. Sometimes it's taken me a month or two to get them to the winners, but we do. And last year we had a problem with the publisher. Book got suspended and the printing delayed, and it was Nana's book. You couldn't get them for about 2 or 3 months, but we did finally. We tracked it down and we got it handled. And yeah, nothing else. But I like having fresh voices that are like, what is this? Now, you know what? It's changed. Before COVID, it was like, what is this thing we're doing here all together? Since COVID, it's like, oh yeah, it's this Zoom thing Larry does. Yeah. But boy, those early days, you had to explain how it worked as much as what it worked with. Yeah. October or Spocktober. Gang, that was somebody else's invention, and it's cool and very cute and it attracts attention. My mind just doesn't go there. So yay. Now, if Universal Fan Fest had the Freak Nights, the Hollywood, nights, and they had a Star Trek thing in that, Spocktober might get trademarked and swept up by a corporation. So I don't know. Wonder how many times people at the Griffith Observatory get asked if Rain is working today, or can you show me where the secret SETI office is? Where's the secret SETI lab that Rain Robinson is working in? Yeah, that would be cool. Well, thank you, Dr. Dave, for the testimonial. Dr. Dave's done 3, including we actually spent one day just driving up to the new Picard vineyards because it's 2 hours 15 from LA. It's a ways. And we took the whole day to do it. And then we walked the hell out of those grounds when we were there, didn't we? Might have broken a few informal rules, but shh, don't tell anybody. Did I just say the Dr. Trek files? Okay, maybe I did. We'll check the tape later. What are you saying, Sean? You wonder how many municipal workers get confused by people coming to see a water reclamation plant every day. Well, see, this is the thing. The Tillman plant was designed, before Watergate and Vietnam dragged the hell out of us. We were still Kennedy-esque. We were still Star Trek optimism about things like LA city government said, let's build a water plant that is sweet and beautiful to look at. And so not only did the architecture happen with the building that we all know, the bones of Starfleet headquarters of the Berman era, of the 24th century Starfleet headquarters and academy, but right next door is a Japanese garden built by a Japanese garden landscape architect. And they share that pond in the middle, and it's all city property. The city licenses out a vendor to run the garden. And currently it's very culturally minded, and they have the hours cut down. And that is where the Edo ran around half naked early in Next Generation, aside from the maintenance of Boothby's tree and the little bridge and all that stuff from First Duty. And then the long shots. You see the long shot with all the matte paintings in the back. It's not just a water reclamation plant, just to say. And there is a little marker out front to spotlight it being Starfleet in the Berman Treks. I was shocked when they put it up. And then in the change of hands that got hypercultural, I was shocked they kept it up. Like they didn't want people to know. But apparently it's just too ingrained. It's like trying to hide Vasquez rocks for whatever reason. And I would say that's the number two most obvious Star Trek location to go to. And you can go there on your own too. If you don't want all the guided information from me, you can do that yourself. The trick is they're closed on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Yeah. And don't come in with hardcore photo gear because they'll think you're a professional photographer trying to avoid paying a license fee. So just keep it simple when you go on Monday through Thursday, unless there's a special event on Sunday. But it's easier to get into now than it used to be post-COVID. Oh my God. There were like 10 slots every hour. You couldn't stay more than an hour. You had to either be one of the reservations or hang around and hope you could be a walk-in. It's crazy. 5 reservations and 5 walk-in slots. Star Trek Companion was a huge part of your Trekkie life in the 90s. Can never thank you enough, Larry. Well, you can try. I'll let you keep trying. No, that's awesome. It was just to realize, even as this continues to enroll, to have been a part of people's lives the same way that Stephen Poe and the making of Star Trek and Bijo, the Concordance, the same way that those two, and Franz Joseph Schnabel, the same way that those 3 were a part of my life. It's just a huge, huge honor. And it's luck. It could have been somebody else, actually. It almost was. But that's life. That's fate. That's karma. So you're welcome. You and all the other thousands who have said so. Oh, Melanie, it's okay. You're here. You got here. You're fine. It's fine. I hear tell these are recorded. And if you want to sit with the whole long version, you can watch it almost immediately, right? See, here you go. Voyager was a show you had trouble seeing. You didn't get to see it on your local UP. Oh, season 2. Oh, you missed the whole first season. It's okay. You probably made up for it since then. And this is why I love keeping in touch with all of our foreign fan friends, because you get this perspective as well. TNG first run in Ireland, episodes on BBC, RTE, and later Sky. Since the former 2 showed it 2 years later, there was a time around 94 where new DS9 TNG Voyager came out all together. Talk about an overload. And it was not supposedly, was it linear? Yeah, in 94, it would all still been linear, no streaming, right? When Voyager debuted, you got a special insert in your local paper with a special... Yes, the microwave. I saved mine. I auctioned it off sometime in the last 10 years. Yeah. Hey, Randy. It's okay. It's recorded. I'd love to have you watch the recording and leave a comment. Stir something up. And there you go. Boom. We're back. We're not to the needle. Why are there so many? Oh, Carl, an actual question. Why are there so many executive producer credits in modern Trek? Seems like there's a large number. Well, partly it's just kind of been contract creep, contract inflation. If you look at the executive producers, some of them are attached to, let's take the modern Treks. So Secret Hideout, you've got Alex, used to have Heather Caden. You've got 2 or 3 or 4 folks who are attached to the main producer, and contractually they've worked their way up. If you go back and look at the first year of Discovery, and then think about over these 8 years and all of these series, and some people working on multiple series, there's just a title creep. It's the same thing with the writers when they come in as a staff writer. It's the lowest, it's the last one. They're in the after credits, no residuals. They're on staff. They're lucky to have that paycheck. And then hopefully they get to write a script and get the residuals from that one script. Or they sell a story, and hopefully it's not sliced up. 2 people on the story and then 2 people on the script that are different. Well, that's the thing is sliced up 4 ways now as far as the residuals. So instead of one person getting, let's say, 2,000, then 4 people got 500. Okay. Well, the next year, that staff writer, assuming they haven't been bonkers, they might get bumped up to story editor, which is like the number 2 level above staff writer. So you watch those credits at the end, the writers who are at the back, that's what's going on there. Used to be, some people thought those were the only writers. It's like, no, a lot of the people up front are writers too. That's why I talk about it's a writer-writer, it's a writer-producer versus a producer-producer. But in the back end, as you're baby climbing those steps, you get to be story editor, and then they'll maybe give you executive story editor if they think you need a little bit more time. But generally, after 2 or 3 or 4, go back and look at any writer in the Berman era and see where they go. Look at Ron and Renee and Brandon and see where they started, and then look at the next season, and then look at the next season. It's just getting a bump up. In education, people got step raises. The teachers almost got get a guaranteed raise in their negotiated. There are a lot of industries and contracts where that's kind of the case. In TV, it's kind of, there's a minimum. That's what the Writers Guild is for, is to do minimums for floors, but then individual people, depending on the success of the show, how much money's in the pipeline, what the budgets are, and how good they are, how much clout they get by doing what they do. There's a minimum they are, but probably a lot of times they can negotiate for a little more. And they climb that ladder: staff writer, story editor, executive story editor. Then after that, they probably graduate to the big boys out front who are getting residuals. And then you start off with producer, or maybe it's co-producer. And co-producer, I learned, is not just the title when there's more than one producer. No, co-producer is like you're literally sharing the pie-ish. Co-producer, then producer. Then it can go in different ways. You might have consulting producers. You might have consulting co-producers or and then consulting or supervising. And then you get to executive producer. But even then, a co-executive producer and then producer. And even then, you'll see 8 or 10. Well, they're always in an order. So even if you have the title executive producer, you might be the first one of 6. Who is the last person in the executive producer list? That's your showrunner. That's your top dog. But then even within that whole out front getting residuals above the line array of producers, again, some are producer-producers, some are writer-producers. And you will see on the shows like Discovery and Picard, eventually, one of the perks when an actor has been a lead actor, let's say, has been a part of a hit show, but there just is no more money to give them a raise. A lot of times, one of the contract points is they get to be an executive producer. Now, they may not get more money as an actor, and they don't want to go down that way and set that precedent and do residuals down the line on the SAG on the actor's contract, but maybe they'll get residuals as an executive producer now. Of course, if you're a creator, you get money for everything to time and immemorial. And you'll see folks on the created list that never wrote a show again. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But they'll get residuals for every single episode of the show. That's kind of why, the Roddenberry company, apart from Rod and Trevor, gets a slice from the Created By. I believe. So all those executive producers out front are a function of a lot of people getting promoted up over both producers and not just writer producers, but producer producers too. Hands-on, doing budgets, doing actual producing, calling, arranging the crew, all that kind of stuff at an executive level, and making decisions, being part of the think tank, having, post and having pre and having on stage. Sometimes people are they have a specific guild, but they go so high up they get an executive producer credit again as a bump. So for all those reasons, but you can only promote so far, and then everybody's bumping their head on the ceiling. So over time, you get more and more and more. And again, some of them are just writers, but there'll be writers who have more and more say over the whole production. Like casting maybe, or maybe able to sign off on some artsy things, sets or props or visual effects models, maybe somewhere along the way. Maybe it takes a load off the showrunner who might be doing 2 or 3 different shows and has farmed out some of those decisions to others once they prove they can do it. But that's why it feels like there's executive producer. If there was another title above it, we had admiral producer, then you could start off with 2 or 3 of those, and then everything would go all the way up to admiral producer. We just kept adding titles for the top, but that's not what happens. So there's a long-winded explanation. Boom. Wait, we have Thor low new, not Lokai low news. This is going back to me in the Lokai thing, right? Yes, local news. Right. Gosh, Zahir, I'm actually up with you. Hey, Christoph. Oh, thank you for spreading that around for the Facebookers. Yeah, I think I got to this eventually, Joel. Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry, Sherry. So sorry. We're thinking about you and sharing those same thoughts. Yes. I have not been close to anyone with Alzheimer's that I knew about since, I want to say, one of my aunts on my dad's side, my oldest uncle, my dad's oldest brother. Of the 6 brothers and 3 sisters, the oldest of the family, the first sibling, his wife. And I remember when they took care of her mother, who was the same way. Oh, you know what? No. I think my oldest best friend's mother. I think, yeah. I think, I don't think mercifully she had to deal with it for very long. But always a good sentiment. Hang on to the people you cherish. Yes. Thank you, Rose. Hi, Rose. Thank you for the backtrack needle. And you too, Christoph. Hey, Anton. Is this your first time to pop up or join us? I don't know, but you got your answer, I'm sure, right? Nope. Need to get caught up with the con audio drama. Yeah, that makes 2 of us, huh? There we go. It's such an institution now. Been doing this thing since 2017. 8 years. What is this now? Yes, Christoph, but as we talked about last week in Euro Midday Portal 47, those hour-long sessions are not all scouts, right? Hey, now, a Fanic story. Good, Carl. You were talking with a Star Trek fan at the 7th Fleet booth. He had 2 younger kids. And when I told him about Star Trek Scouts, he lit up and started talking with his kids about it. Awesome. And see, they're not promoting this. Are they promoting? How do you promote this? It's all internal. They're just hoping that the YouTube rhythms and currents of algorithms bring people over to it. Has anyone seen any professional promotion in the standard channels? I know they don't think 3-year-olds are going to see it, but what about the adults with 3-year-olds or the adults who know people with 3-year-olds? Yeah, what I said, what you said. Yeah. Exactly. This is what we're talking about. Uh-oh, red shirt. You lived in Western Michigan when TOS was 11:30 Sunday nights without fail. WKZO Channel 3. There you go. Here, Mona. Oh my gosh. Barely here. I hope you're okay. You mean time-wise or health-wise? What? Was bringing a whole new meaning to Rose's bar to your bar. Okay. Now what? There's a principle in physics that until you see something happen, it hasn't happened. Oh, the Heisenberg, yeah. So technically, seeing an episode that late doesn't change anything. It never happened or witnessed. No, Mona, you're good. No, the open house has not happened yet. And you're a prize-winning veteran of the open house, right? Oh, we had Star Trek in 66. You didn't have it till 69. Was that the longest period of time it was off the air? You mean series? I'm not sure what you mean because we didn't have news. I mean, the original series has been syndicated since it went off the air constantly, if that's what you mean. Oh, Sean Fry. Yes, actual. Is it 5 now or just 4? Okay. Oh well, Steve. You know, oh my gosh, Tony. I had to stop and think about. Yes. Well, Tony Kirby is right, dead right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. For day-to-day, everyday budgets, the locations are 30 miles because that's the union limit. Beyond that, you have to pay to keep people overnight in motels and all that expense. So you try to get out and come back. It's to make people not have to drive forever overnight. It's a safety issue. There have been Star Trek people. A couple of people over the years, at least one I know of on DS9, was a crew person of whatever department who was on his cycle and they finished at 2 or 3 in the morning and he had a wreck at 3 in the morning. But that's exactly why those things are supposed to they're put in place. Did you start the Dr. Trek files was about you showing your own files, not about you saying anything? Don't know what you're asking there, but I mean, I had my own files in the beginning of Portal 47 and still could. Not sure what you're getting at, Christoph. Did I say something confusing? Okay. Basically, yeah. Who knows? Who knows? It's part of this is because Star Trek Scouts is on the bigger channel where it's not even part of the name. It's those Mighty Machines or whatever. And there's other lines where they've got tons of episodes. Well, the Scouts, they didn't want to have a channel just for Star Trek Scouts where they were since they're not putting 20 out at once, which is weird. They're dribbling these out like 1 and 2 and 3, and they're 4 minutes long. So without credits even. Yeah. Oh, hey, Ranger Donnie. It's a Trek Yards raid on YouTube. That happens on YouTube. Okay, cool. Yay. Do you have any fellow raiders or raiderettes? Yes. Although probably a mile away. But there you go. Vedek's grabbing ears and planting things. I'm glad we're getting the Scouts mystery planned out. Oh, look, apparently I trigger something where I can get spam. At least it's not porn spam. It's just regular spam. Hey, Pedro, I am fine. How are you? I'm fine. How are you? It's an old Star Trek parody that Dr. Demento used to. The Congress of Wonder, Star Trip, where all of the characters had parody names. Captain Jerk, Mr. Spot. The engineer was named Snotty. He said, "Snot here, Captain." "What's not there?" "I said, snot here, Captain." "By the by, would you happen to have a wee bit of mustard up on the bridge?" Oh my God. "And you got what you always wanted." "What's that?" "A bleached blonde in red convertible on Planet Schwartz." Ain't I something? "And you'll have what you always wanted, Mr. Spock. Mr. Splock, command of the booby prize." Hey, Sean, I know you're in the big photo at the end of Enterprise. Where were you the next day when they bulldozed the sets? Shame to miss this. The sets weren't bulldozed. I have photos. They took everything down and folded and stored it. There was no Trek coming, but they still did not bulldoze those. In fact, some of that stuff wound up in the Tibet Enterprise. A lot of it wound up in auctions. Might still even be held that's auctionable if it didn't sell, but it was not bulldozed. Just to let you know. For one thing, a bulldozing makes a lot more mess than knocking flats and panels, wall panels, and things aside. And it didn't happen the next day. It was a week or two process. And I have some photos. I walked by and seeing stuff on trucks out in front. I've shared those somewhere along the way. I think with some of the Enterprise people when we've had them on Portal 47. I put that into the slideshows. Half the budget is spent on producers, so a lot of the money doesn't appear on screen. Technically, but the producer's work turns up on screen-ish. But I know what you're saying. Yeah. How they climb the ladder and get a title as they climb? Yeah, absolutely. Gerhardt. These titles have lost all meaning to me. Gerhardt, I think that happened probably 40 or 50 years ago. It was getting dicey during the Berman era. But yeah, the explosion of serialized TV and wanting to be like neo-cinematic and all of that. Modern Star Trek has like 30 executives. Well, what about other series? That's kind of an industry standard. It's not like Star Trek is gone wonky with this. Believe me, they're not going to go crazy on something that's like financial like that. Rose, I have not been notified that you don't get notifications. In fact, I haven't noticed that I don't get notified, that you don't get notified. Yeah, I never noticed. Sorry. Terry Metalis is probably the one to watch to see his name climb the ranks. Dominic jokes that he went from fetching him coffee to not returning his calls. I know. Your gripes with modern Star Trek, too many cooks? Yeah. Hey, Sean, you've suggested that Larry put up the stream the day before so you can click notify me. It would mean we don't miss anything. Well, can't you just subscribe in YouTube? Don't you get notifications from YouTube when I go on? Yeah, and is it a Paramount show or is it a Nickelodeon show? See, you can't even break this down. I mean, it's CBS Paramount because they're on the patent for the title. to some extent. Blaze and the Machines. Thank you, Joel. 6.8 million subscribers. That's huge. That's how they're trying to. Again, they're trying to fight. They're trying to use this new dynamic, right? The whole algorithm YouTube online thing. It's not traditional. And we talked about it for 10, 15 years, and we still don't know how it works. Or ignorant people don't know how it works, but smart people don't know how it works either in the industry. It's, well, it's easy to find. Just look up, again, I'll go to YouTube and look for Star Trek Scouts or look for this channel, Blaze and the Machines. But I don't, because kids get into that loop and they watch and watch and watch and watch. So, Ma, as of now, the open house will be Wednesday the 23rd, which is only in 2 weeks. That might move, but for right now, we're saying Wednesday the 23rd. There you go. I'm sorry, I keep saying the 23rd. Wednesday the 22nd. My calendar is... Yes. The 22nd, everybody. The 22nd. Oh, I see. I'm just showing props digitally versus putting them in later. It's such a pain to do that with Restream. The Star Wreck novels? They weren't parodies. They had nothing to do with Star Trek except use the... Yep. Loaded Weapon 1 when we did the parody. They did parody movies constantly. Okay, Carl, I have a fellow. Yeah. I have a fellow Demento and Dementite. I got to see Dr. Demento live doing a panel for Spike Jonze's Survivors years ago at TV and Radio Museum. It's the best non-Trek fanish moment I got to have ever. Yeah, it's just the stupidity of not being aware. What? They always play part of that Demento skit at STLV in the Nimoy room between panels. Oh, really? Because it's audio only unless somebody out there has put video to it. Would never call someone a showrunner. Well, a lot of people then confuse. We used to say head writer. Like there was always a head writer. Who's the senior writer? Who's running the room? Well, the head writer of the years we had, because the original series days, there wasn't a head writer. There was the staff writer, and then you had third parties come in and pitch scripts, right? So it was Gene, and then Gene Kuhn was the hand-on writer, but there was usually a secondary staff writer person, story editor, Dorothy, or it was Steve Karabatsos. Like that was technically what John D.F. Black was in the beginning at the early, I mean, there was somebody along the way, but when you get to, by the time of the 80s, it's Gene, but then very quickly he's producing. So it's after the tussle of the, it was supposed to be Rob Lewin in the beginning, but then it wound up being Maury Hurley and then Michael. And then you have co-ish kind of, Michael hands off DS9 to Ira. It goes Michael, Jerry, then Jerry. Jerry retires. It's Brannon. And then the last season, it's Ken Biller of Voyager. And then it's Brannon it's Brannon for 3.5 years. And then it's Manny for the last season on Enterprise. And then you can start up with Discovery and start with Brian and then Aaron and Gretchen. And then the little hiccup, and it winds up being Michelle. And on and on and on down the line. So that's the head writer. That's always an easy thing. And that kind of, it's just that sometimes the head writers start to drift over into exec producer duties, and it's a bump up and they get called that. But in the Berman era, no matter how far along Michael got or Jerry got, Rick was still the top person. Rick was still the showrunner. The senior producer was never, and Rick was never a writer, even though he tried to be, went that way, story creator with Brannon on Enterprise. It's kind of the reason why some of the episodes might have been a bit thin in the beginning of Enterprise, especially by second season. Oh, sorry about that, Christoph. I don't know why. I have the channels connected here. Yeah, sorry, Sherry. I've got YouTube up here as a channel, and all the permissions are set to do that. Yeah, I do not know. Maybe that's a restream interface function. I don't know. Oh, at the 7 Pacific, at the normal time. Might start an hour earlier if we're going to try to have an hour of Ask Dr. Trek Roundtable and then start the guest at 7. So the guest is not running too late. Star Wreck was something else. Star Trip was what I always think about. What is his last line? Kirk stays. Want a lift, sailor? I'll stay here, Mr. Spock, and you'll have what you always had, what you always wanted, command of the booby prize. And you'll have what you always wanted. What's that? A bleached blonde in red convertible on planet Schwartz. Ain't I something? Well, bye-bye, and what does he say? Well, I'll see you, Spock, and say bye-bye to Starfleet Command. I thought he'd never go. Mr. Snot. Snot here! What's Snot? Oh, that's what it was. Mr. Snot? Snot here! What's not there? I said Snot here! Make it... Something about Captain Kirk? I? Make it 1 to beam up. That's fair, Donnie. Give Academy a try for Bob Picardo. You stand with... Isn't it funny how the United thing just kind of came out of the blue? I don't know that Mike was ready for that legacy level. The love. It's amazing to me. I think Scott might be a little amused at the love for this Bakula series, this Archer series, where the way they remember going, kind of being shown the door after 4 years. Yes. Oh, yes. Wenn der Führer says, wie ist der Master Race? Wie heil, right in der Führer's face. I wonder if that will make a comeback. Der Führer's face. I see. You consider showrunner and executive producer to be antonyms. By that, I take it you mean opposites. Oh, okay. Okay. Hello, David. I think Trek is missing the old 30-party contributions. I think Trek is missing the whole let's have more than 10 or 12 episodes, which is a topic that keeps trending. Hi, David, and thank you for jumping in. I don't know if this is your first time, but it's good to see you. Yeah, well, partly we have that term showrunner just because there's so many executive producers. It's like, and you don't have time to sit and fast forward to see who the last name is in the list of executive producers. Yep. There we go. Oh, I'm looking forward to it too. Rick Berman's solo episodes were pretty good, but the ending of A Matter of Time felt a little off. The characters all behaved out of character. Even the end music didn't know whether to be happy or sad. I'll have to go back and check that part of it out, Pedro. That's funny. What are you saying, Mona? Your memories and oh, Mona, I've forgotten so much. It's not on the tip of my tongue anymore. If it was personal, That helps. But I know where to look it up. That's the thing. With the crew getting revenge. Oh, farmer usually still working outside this time of year. Fair enough. Good on you. Now I want to know what area, like in the plains or the Midwest or out or further west or where you are, northern or southern. Thank you, Christoph, for doing the deal. Are we really at the end of the chat and it's going to explode? Should I start the wind up? Should I start the wind up? I'm just mad because I meant to always have a card here. I meant to have a card here for the big tour. And I'm burning, this is scintillating video, I know, but I made a point to have a card here, and it's not here. Dead gummit. Dead burn it. Dead blast it. That just kills me. I made a big deal about having a card here that I could hold up and not. But you know, it's Geek Nation Tours. Thank you, though, Chris. Oh, here we go. Iowa, very good. You know, some famous people are going to be born in Iowa. Have you ever been to Riverside? Now I know I'm prolonging the chat here. Tell me you had to have been just bopped over to Riverside. Waiting to harvest the soybean fields. Sherry, do you have a market for those soybeans? Or are they going to sit on the ground because China's all buying them from Argentina now, even more than they did? I don't know that we celebrate Mad Hatter's Day over here, Rose. But no, I'm not sitting on the card. That's funny. Anyway, everybody, and it's not over here. Yes, it was over there with the big cards. So guess what? Yeah. I wonder if David works in outer space. Yeah, outer space pod farms. There you go. Oh, David, you have to do it sometime. Northern Iowa University has a 1 day, the Rod Library with 2 Ds, sponsors a 1 day minicon every year. And 10 years ago, they invited me. And on the way back to the airport, I diverted over and went to Riverside. There we go. Guess what, folks? There. Boom. You can even get the QR code. See, here's who we've got so far lined up as daily guests going to where they've been before filming. Armin, Tim, Sirach, of course, Bobby Clark. You know where he's going to be with us. He's been with us before. And that's just a taste. It's the week before STLV. It's the Hollywood to STLV tour, or we go hashtag LA to STLV. But yeah, check it out, geeknation.com, as you'll see there. geeknationtours.com. That's happening. Or, of course, you can just ask me for a day tour if you're feeling a little humbler. But the big tours are awesome. Talk to a veteran. Go to the Facebook page and you can see what people have posted there. I appreciate that. Meanwhile, once again, the Trek Files is up. We're in season 14. It's podcast.roddenberry.com. You can get all the Roddenberries there. Also, thetrekfiles.com takes you just to our page at Memory Alpha for the player, the document of the week, and all the hot links. And now, for you Trekophiles, spelled with an F, who are part of the new Patreon discussion hour that we have live. We have boards that are there all the time on Discord. amidst the whole Roddenberry Patreon, the Mission Log Patreon. Every other Monday, I have a 4 p.m. live show where we're all on camera together. Feels like Zoom, but it's in the Discord player. We have Trekophiles tonight at 4 p.m. Pacific every other Monday. Just a note that I'm skipping and resetting. We'll have 2 in a row then, because I need to, we have a little family business on Monday that I need to be out for. So won't be next Monday, but a week from then, we'll have Trekophiles tonight with the Discord. And the Mission Log Roddenberry Discord is easy. You can get in for $1 a month, and then you got access to all the shows, all the discussion boards for all the Roddenberry shows, and even some boards that are not Roddenberry show tied. So I appreciate all the Trekophiles with an F. We do have now finally a live meetup area just for the Trek Files and talk about our subjects and episodes. And yeah, we get off on a little generic Star Trek too at the time. And I've been known to get off on a ramble and do a story even there. But meanwhile, once again, thanks to all of our Patreons. Thanks, guys and gals and peeps. And if you're curious to know how to do it, how to be part of that, it's very simple. It's $5, $10. If you really want to support at patreon.com, Trekland Live. But if you really, really, really want to support what I'm doing, I would say give a little more a month and get some more buck for it and bang for it, and just join portal47.net. Your backstage pass to more in-depth Trek. It's like a mini-con all year long. No post-con blues. Yeah, but we're still Larry Nemechek on Twitter and Blue Sky, and Trekland, Larry's Trekland on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe, hit the button, do the things. Guys, I'm sorry for the notices not working. I don't know what's up with that, but I appreciate you hanging in with me and being patient. Appreciated the Trek Yards raid a while ago. That was funny. And thank you, David. David, you're a Trekophile spelled with an F. I can tell. So I'm glad you're able to come in out of the fields today and join us live. I don't know. Is this a new book? Where's Dave? I don't know. Maybe he's busy. We all have distractions, but I appreciate everybody joining me here every Tuesday, pretty much every Tuesday. And again, I invite you to take a look at the Patreon mission log, on Discord. If you are a Trekophile spelled with an F and you want to join in on that over there and support, that dollar goes to the Roddenberry Patreon, and Discord is the delivery system for conversations. They have a great community. There's community built around the individual Roddenberry podcasts, and a lot of people in the community have their own shows, like an hour or two every week that they love, that aren't tied to a Roddenberry podcast. There's a Babylon 5. There's a Galactica show podcast community that gets together once a week. There's several other ones that you can find out. Yep. And doing that. But I love to have folks joining up with Portal 47. Again, we'll be talking about the open house. That's a great way to get a taste for free and then jump in. I usually have some kind of a joining special with that. Can't wait to work on that. Hang with me there. And yeah, take a look at the Trek Files that's out now. We'll be back with that next Tuesday as well. And as always, gang, appreciate the help, appreciate the support, appreciate the trekking, everybody. It's kind of a low news cycle, but there's lots going on to keep us busy. So I appreciate all of that. Trekland Treks, we're here all summer and winter, fall, spring. If you're headed this way, talk about that with me. That's going to do it. Appreciate everybody. And just come on. Stay healthy. Do the things. Stay woke. Check the sources. And trek well, everybody.